Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Black Four-Leaf Clover, from Check-In. Chapter 51. Yuno's appearance immediately attracted everyone's attention. Looking at the boy who was selected by the Four-Leaf Clover magic book, many people had a hint of urgency on their faces. They want to see how this unique genius is treated. Four-Leaf Clover kid, it looks like this is a good show. Yami raised his hand with a cigarette in his mouth and said, "There are so many people, let's try and see if there is any shit luck." With Yami raising his hand, the scene was in an uproar. All the leaders expressed their opinions. This is the only time. It seems that the Four-Leaf Clover magic book is really not comparable to us. TCH, the ones chosen by the Four-Leaf Clover are all the favored ones of heaven, but I don't know why they are low-ranking people. You noblemen, be careful with your mouth. Don't forget that there is a star-killing refugee behind you. The scene suddenly became noisy. Feeling the envy from all around, Yuno's heart was slightly balanced. In his eyes, as long as he can join the Golden Dawn, at least it counts, and Kuroba is back on the same starting line. I choose Golden Dawn, Yuno said without any hesitation. In his eyes, to become a magic emperor, one must at least embark on the best path. All good talents are snatched away. Yami touched the tip of his nose helplessly. Captain Yami, didn't you know the result early in the morning? Finral said as a matter of course. The strongest and the worst group, as long as they are not blind, anyone will choose. Why don't we go back? It's time to eat. Shut up, Yami glared. That kid just now, I just tried it casually. My ultimate goal is that arrogant brat. Kill the Star Exiles. Finral's expression faltered and he said, Chief Yami, I don't think the other captains will give up. I'm afraid you're going to run into a wall again. Touch your sister. Yami casually slapped Finral on the back of the head, and took a puff of his cigarette. I have prepared a secret killer, they can't beat me. Finral covered the back of his head, looked at the swearing Yami, and shut up all of a sudden. He didn't want to go farther and farther on the road to death. Yami, your determination is very good, but the strongest in each class will join Golden Dawn. This is an unchanging law. I also want to see what confidence you have. Vengeance glanced back, this old opponent. For him, it doesn't matter whether they work hard under Julius. It was still approved to form the Magic Knights, they are all old rivals in the competition. Perhaps, one of them is one by one, but no one will dislike the joy of victory. Abandoning these words, Vengeance personally took the list from the guard beside him, and said, next, number 170. 170. Where did my 165 go? Asta froze for a moment. He signed up after Yuno, so he should be the next number. However, as soon as this idea came to mind, Asta felt the astonished eyes all around fell on his side. Seeing the figure stepping out, Asta's pupils shrank slightly. Number 170. But Kuroba, the star-killing exile whose nickname was spread just now. The atmosphere in the arena suddenly changed, and the heads of the 9 regiments subconsciously sat up straight. Seeing this scene, Yuno's expression changed slightly, and he looked towards Vengeance. Whizzing, all 8 people raised their hands in unison, except Guldre from Z1 Killer Whale. After all, not long ago, Guldre picked a fault and shot himself in the foot, but it is vivid. I won. Yuno secretly clenched his fists. This victory seems to be a bit different, but at least he has 9 heads to express their opinions, and Kuroba only has 8. Kuroba finally chose the Golden Dawn, and he could find some comfort in his heart. Boy, as long as you join Z1 Killer Whale, I will guarantee you the position of deputy head. Guldre's loud voice sounded suddenly. Seeing Guldre, who was half a beat behind in position, suddenly stood up, with an angry expression on his face, the people present were stunned. Even Yuno is no exception. In their eyes, Guldre had suffered in front of Kuroba not long ago. It should be right not to throw an olive branch. Right now, in the process of recruiting newcomers, he publicly promised the position of deputy head. This subverted their cognition. Captain Guldre, he is the deputy commander, then I. Xerex, who was wrapped in a towel and recovering his body temperature, couldn't help asking. Your sister, don't you think it's not enough to be ashamed? You can't even be a rookie, so what kind of deputy head? Guldre roared angrily. However, this remark instantly drew a blank stare. As long as you have seen Kuroba's strength and means. I'm afraid not many people dare to say that they are sure to win against Kuroba. This unexpected recruitment of bargaining chips broke the previous freshman assessment rules again. Vengeance frowned and said, Guldre, although each regiment leader has the right to appoint and remove positions within the regiment, but the way of recruiting is going too far. What's more, some people, as long as they are not blind, will know how to choose. Guldre's expression changed involuntarily. For Vengeance's words, he had a feeling that he couldn't refute. Those who can enter the Golden Dawn are all nobles and elites. The magic book in Kuroba's hand is at the level of two-leaf clover, but the strength shown subverts their cognition. However, for the other candidates, it was more that they felt crazy about the conditions proposed by Guldre, the leader of Z1 Killer Whale. Facing a newcomer, throw the position of deputy head as an olive branch. If you hadn't heard it with your own eyes, who would believe that all this is true? Okay, this is just a small episode. Vengeance withdrew his gaze and said, Kuroba, as an examinee, you can make a choice now. In the eyes of outsiders, the subtle changes in Vengeance may not be noticeable. For Kuroba, hiding under the mask in front of him may have already become the reincarnated spirit hidden in his body. Otherwise, there would not be such a big reaction for Guldre's move. I'm sorry Vengeance, I still plan to take a gamble for this brat. Nozel said suddenly. If you are willing to join the Eagle of the Silver Wing, I promise to recommend you to be the deputy head. At this moment, the small voice seemed to be amplified infinitely. If we say that Guldre is a businessman, he can do whatever it takes to benefit, and even break the rules of selection. Now Nozel, who is a member of the royal family and is in charge of the silver-winged vulture, said the same thing. Throwing such an olive branch for Kuroba. For others, this is simply a nightmare. Crazy, are these two captains crazy? Pulling a newcomer in as deputy captain is breaking the rules. What's the rule? If you can lay down all the students by yourself, even the deputy head of Z1 Killer Whale rubbed against the ground, you can also be the deputy head. In my opinion, the star-killing exiles are not in the same world as us at all. There was an uproar. Facing the scene in front of him, Yuno was also dumbfounded. I thought, entering the Golden Dawn, he would stand on the same starting line as Kuroba again. It never occurred to him that he was just a companion, and the other party had already left him. Deputy head, that is an unattainable position for many people. However, Yuno is most eager to know if Vengeance, who rules the Golden Dawn, will do the same crazy thing. Seeing Nozel's cold and arrogant statement, the expression under Vengeance's mask was also a little livid. It is different from other magic knights. Golden Dawn, each of them is an elite existence. As the deputy leader, Langris is a first-class senior magician, just one step away from the leader's great magician. He is also the current head of the noble Ford family. Based on this status alone, it is not as simple as Guldre dismissing a defeated general who made a fool of himself in public, and Nozel dismissing his own brother. There are so many things involved. Hehe, brother Vengeance, I didn't expect you to be indecisive at times. Yami stood up with a cigarette in his mouth, and said, this kid is in high demand. He is simply the strongest magic knights. I'm afraid he doesn't pay attention at all. If you have to say, this kid looks like me. For the sake of old acquaintances, I will give you the bargaining chip first, and then I will use the trump card. Looking at the Bull group, which is known as the bottom of the 9 Magic Knight groups, they also forcibly stepped in. While everyone was astonished, Vengeance also looked at this long-standing competitor. His face sank, and he said, Yami, Guldre and Nozel's madness, I'm surprised. They don't play cards according to common sense, and they can also make Golden Dawn pose a certain threat. However, you Black Bull, don't you want to follow suit? Sometimes, with the same bargaining chips, many people should learn to retreat in spite of difficulties, such as you. Having said that, Vengeance stared at Yami. Suddenly, for a newcomer, the leader of the Magic Knights became tense. The newcomer candidates present couldn't help swallowing a mouthful of saliva, and also looked at Yami. They wanted to know if Yami, the god of destruction who was so aggressive with Vengeance, was so disheartened, with his tail between his legs, that he abstained directly. Feeling that this seemed to be another person's sight, Yami took a deep breath of the cigarette, frowned, and said, Vengeance, after leaving the boss of Julius, we haven't sat down for a long time, but you forgot me temperament and my code of conduct. If one thing has a limit, then we can do things beyond the limit, such as now. break through the limit to do things. Vengeance couldn't help being startled, looking at Yami's bearded face and the smile on his face. Once again the word Yami flashed in his mind. Act like crazy. Crazy thoughts flashed through Vengeance's mind. Looking at the indifference on Yami's face, he couldn't hold back anymore. Yami, are you crazy? Crazy. Yami took another puff of the cigarette, then pinched it out with the tip of his toe, and said, I asked the Julius boss for instructions, and he said that this is a matter for my regiment and I have the final decision-making power. So, I am determined to win this kid. Speaking of this, Yami looked at Kuroba, with a playful smile on his face and said, Little devil, as long as you are willing to join our Black Bull group, I will let you be the leader of my group. The small voice, like thunder at this moment, reverberated in the huge arena, and there was no way to dissipate for a long time. The scene fell into a brief dead silence, and the next moment the situation completely detonated. Is this crazy? Oh my god, what I heard just now is not a joke, is it? Using the position of regiment leader in exchange for a newcomer, this is absolutely crazy. This Black Bull group is simply a cancer. Even if they dare to make such a condition, will the other group leaders be so crazy? Quote. The scene suddenly fell into a state of madness. No, it should be said that the candidates in the field, and even the heads of the major groups, are going crazy. They were able to climb to the position of the regiment leader, but it took a lot of hard work and time. It may be easy to give up the position of a deputy head. But you have to give up your position as the head of the group where you are sitting. That is not comparable to ordinary people. It's impossible. It shouldn't be possible to be elected as the head of the group right after joining the group. Yuno was stunned. Originally, the deputy head's starting line had already caught him off guard. Now, another leader line. That was simply daunting. For a moment, not to mention the candidates present, even the eyes of all the team leaders fell on Magic Emperor. Watching this scene, Kuroba also touched the tip of his nose helplessly. He had thought about Yami's madness. However, even he was a little caught off guard by Wang Za's current move. Ahem. The Magic Emperor coughed dryly, raised his hands slightly, and said, Everyone, I believe that everyone feels shocked and unfair about the terms offered by the Black Bulls, the leader of Yami, and at the same time thinks, as the Magic Emperor, I met Kuroba in advance, so I'm afraid I will operate in secret. If I don't explain it today, I'm afraid this kid will become my illegitimate child tomorrow. Speaking of this, Magic Emperor laughed dryly. However, this joke is not funny. If I told you that 3 months ago, this kid single-handedly repelled the invasion of the 8-way general, killed 3 of them at the same time, and faced my unconventional recruitment as the head of the regiment. Finally, I arrived here and participated in the assessment with you, just to be fair and above board, and to enter the Magic Knights, do you believe it? Of course, if you don't believe me, Captain Nozel was also there that day, and Deputy Captain Zirsho can also provide evidence. Chang's words echoed in the arena. The sound of Gulu swallowing saliva rang out one after another in the field. Even the heads of the group changed drastically. The gaze towards Kuroba is full of disbelief. General Bahui, that is the kingdom of 4-leaf clover, the ace unit of the rival power Diamond Kingdom. Now the Magic Emperor told them that among the candidates who participated in the newcomer assessment, there was a general who not only repelled the 8 radiances. The terrifying rookie who also killed 3 people in a row. This gives people a feeling of being in a dream. If what Magic Emperor said is not false, Kuroba is probably the youngest captain in history. Especially Zirex, who had just made a successful shot, at this moment, looking at Kuroba, his calf is also weakening. If it wasn't for the assessment, he believed that he would die 100 times. He is the deputy head of the Aster Killer Whale. However, he asked himself that there was no way to fight against Bahui, let alone kill 3 of them. Sensing the sudden change in the atmosphere in the arena, Kuroba was a little helpless. If the Magic Emperor, who is boasting about himself, knows that he refuses the chance to become the head of the regiment, it is because of the system. I'm afraid that now, she won't be bragging here without blushing or panting. Seeing the Magic Emperor who opened his mouth and was about to continue, Kuroba still decided to interrupt. I said, can you hurry up? I'm really in a hurry. The Magic Emperor was stunned. He never expected that he would be disgusted by the person involved after boasting so rarely, so he coughed dryly and said, "Ahem, it's almost time, let's continue." All the 9 regiments express their opinions. Candidate number 170, please make a choice. After the words fell, many people subconsciously looked at Vengeance. However, facing Yami's crazy chips, he obviously couldn't afford to gamble. No, yes, the rest of the heads are no exception. Perhaps, the deputy head is already their limit. I choose the Black Bull Regiment. Kuroba smiled and raised his hand. There is no way to do this, not because Yami has enough chips, but because Vanessa has a big heart. Instead, the system jumped out to intervene at a critical moment. Otherwise, the blue rose of the whole group of women is actually a very good choice. Choose Black Bull. The people present were dumbfounded. Even the team leader on the field is no exception. In the kingdom of four-leaf clover, the Black Bull is notorious. The position of the head of the group is really fragrant. But for other regiments, this choice is inevitable, and it is difficult for him to accept. It feels as if their group is not as good as the most trashy bull group. Heartbroken. Hee, I didn't expect to find a bargain. Yami gave a dry laugh. Brother Vengeance, I'm really sorry. HMPH. Vengeance snorted coldly, and said, Kuroba, there are some things that I hope you can think about clearly, otherwise it will be difficult to change once it is settled. What's more, to determine a person's commanding heights, you need a starting line. To become a magic emperor, the choice is obvious. As long as they are in the four-leaf clover kingdom, absolutely no one will doubt the ability of Golden Dawn. Even Vengeance is regarded as the closest existence to magic emperor. That means, becoming a member of the Golden Dawn is the closest thing to becoming a magic emperor. Choosing the Black Bull is undoubtedly far away from this road. Thank you, Captain Vengeance, your suggestion is indeed very clear. Kuroba smiled kindly. However, there are only children clamoring to be magic emperor, and I have no interest. By the way, I actually don't know where my starting line is. A small voice, at this moment, infinitely amplified. Not to mention all the examinees, even the heads of all the magic troops shrank their pupils slightly. In this country, the most successful way of brainwashing is to become the greatest magic emperor. That is, as long as you become a member of the Magic Knights, you will be thinking about the highest goal. However, now in Kuroba's mouth, it has become worthless. This gap is too great. This writing is crazy. Haha, everyone, don't be offended, Kuroba's temperament is like this. Magic Emperor was the first to laugh out loud. What Magic Emperor is not Magic Emperor? As long as everyone is for the prosperity and stability of the four-leaf clover kingdom, it is enough to work together. There are still many good seedlings in the future, and the leaders will be satisfied. Captain Vengeance, you continue to host. Seeing the Magic Emperor speak in an official tone, the atmosphere in the arena eased up a bit. However, before Vengeance could speak, Yami's voice rose again. Hey, head, hurry up, there's an ending, we can go back after we finish the show. Yami smiled dryly and raised his hands. This scene made the cheek muscles of many people, especially the head, twitch. If it hadn't been abrupt and took a few deep breaths, I'm afraid it would really be unbearable. But, there's nothing wrong with that. Seeing Chong Yi from the original group, he took out the position of head of the Magic Knights to recruit Kuroba. Now that Kuroba has joined the Black Bulls, he should be the head of the group. Therefore, the scene in front of me does not accept refutation. Ahem, Captain Kuroba, are you going up? Magic Emperor coughed dryly to smooth things over. He felt that he regretted letting Kuroba participate in the assessment of the Magic Knights, and continued to toss like this. The reflex arc of the cranial nerves will literally circle the head 3 times. Master Julius, there is no need, it is enough for me to stand here. Kuroba responded with a smile. There are indeed many good seedlings in the field. I also want to try to get 2 talents for the Black Bull. Captain Vengeance, please continue. Watching the opening of the mouth and directly substituting the role, this kind of fluent posture makes people dumbfounded. Vengeance's face was hidden under the mask, his expression sank, and he said, it seems that Kuroba, no, it should be said that Captain Kuroba is really full of confidence. However, I would like to remind you that the enrollment efficiency of Yami in the past was all missed. I'm afraid it will disappoint you. Disappointment. Kuroba laughed dryly and said, it's an unexpected surprise, I like it. What's more, I believe that the eyes of the masses are discerning. Let's start, Captain Vengeance. Seeing Kuroba full of confidence, the people present were also dumbfounded. They didn't know at all that Kuroba, as the Black Bull group, had any confidence to mess with this link. Wrestle with the Golden Dawn of Vengeance. Just thinking about how Kuroba might hit a wall in the end. Many people showed great interest. No one doesn't like seeing a genius deflated. Especially, the genius who abused them. Okay, since Captain Kuroba is full of confidence, let's continue. Vengeance took another look at Kuroba. He continued to pick up the list in his hand, and said, "Next, candidate number 175, please come forward." The sound of shouting again brought back everyone's thoughts. Subconsciously looking at it, Kuroba was also a little surprised that the candidates were admitted. Unexpectedly, good seedlings would emerge so soon. No, 175. Nuo Al was taken aback for a moment, watching Mimosa who was standing beside him walk out in a row. "No Al, I'll go first, and you have to work hard." Mimosa blushed, crossed Kuroba's side, and came to the high platform. "Isn't this the Princess Mimosa of the Vermilion family among the 3 royal families? I heard that her brother is the deputy head of Coral Peacock. Brother Wong is here. I think Princess Mimosa will definitely choose Coral Peacock. Why don't we go too?" "Cut, you toad, you don't intend to eat swan meat, do you? What's the matter, do you have any opinions? I can't be a magic emperor, and I want to find a way to get ahead. Stop arguing, let's see the result." The scene suddenly became noisy. As one of the royal family, he was born with powerful magical talent and magic power. It is not too much to call each one a genius. Especially, a girl like Mimosa with a fair figure and a bit of a silly and sweet temper. But it makes people like it. It turned out to be the sister of the deputy head of Chi Airshow, the head of Kuroba. This is a good seed. Vengeance glanced at Kuroba. Then let's not waste time and start expressing our views. After the words fell, the heads of the 9 magic troops expressed their opinions one after another. As a royal family, it also has a rare recovery system Magister, which is really rare in any magic knight order. "Deputy Captain Yami, why are you still raising your hand?" Finral reminded in a low voice. Yami was stunned for a moment, touched the tip of his nose in embarrassment, and said, "I'm planning to raise my hands together, the leader kid won't be too embarrassing." "Hee, Yami, you're so naive." Vengeance laughed dryly and said, "Mimosa, the 9 knight orders, including the new head of Kuroba, are also very interested in you, so hurry up and make a choice. However, I also want to remind you that this choice is very important for the future." After saying these words, everyone in the field focused their attention on Mimosa. "Interested in me?" Mimosa rubbed her hot cheeks and looked shyly at Vengeance. This made many people's eyes brighten. This is a joke. A smile appeared on Vengeance's face and said, "Mimosa, speak out your choice. Speak loudly. This is so embarrassing." Mimosa was taken aback for a moment, but feeling the gazes from all around her, she still gritted her teeth and said anxiously, "I want to choose Black Bull." In an instant, the scene fell into an inexplicable dead silence. Everyone was dumbfounded, and even Vengeance's self-confessed gentleman's smile became stiff. In the face of Kuroba's choice, there is still a leader position as the main inducing role. Mimosa, who is now a royal family, announced in public that she would join the bottom of the Black Bulls. "What is that picture? Deputy Captain Ziershow, did your sister misunderstand something?" Vengeance looked a little stiff and looked at Chairshow who was standing behind Dorothy. For Vengeance, who was full of confidence, he also raised his hand. Mimosa did not choose Golden Dawn, but chose the most trashy Black Bull group. "This is unscientific. Hee, Captain Vengeance, I'm an elder brother, but if it interferes with Mimosa's own choice, it's not beautiful." Ziershow picked up the bangs on his forehead and said with teeth shining. Seeing this expression, Yami was also taken aback, touched the tip of his nose and muttered, "This guy, he didn't sell his own sister on purpose, did he? It seems that this kid has a lot of secrets. I found a treasure." "Deputy Leader Yami, don't keep talking bad things about the new leader, I will report you." Finral lowered his voice. "However, the personality charm of this new leader seems to be much stronger than that of you, Deputy Leader Yami." "Shut up, I picked you up like trash back then, will my regiment become like this?" Yami glared. "Now it's my turn to get lucky. However, Vengeance seems a little strange today. Yami fumbled out a cigarette and looked at Vengeance while dangling it. In his eyes, Vengeance is ostracized since childhood. However, he is also approachable in temperament, but today he seems to be a different person, confronting Kuroba tit for tat. This did make Yami a little uncomfortable. Okay, leave it to me. The Magic Emperor coughed dryly, and felt that the atmosphere was a bit uncomfortable. Mimosha, since you chose the Black Bull, please continue to work hard. Thank you, Lord Magic Emperor. I will definitely complete the task better under the leadership of Captain Kuroba. Chief Kuroba. Nuo Al was stunned, looking at the figures of Mimosa and Kuroba. A ridiculous thought flashed in his mind. Mimosa wouldn't like Kuroba, would she? What am I thinking? I'm a royal family, so I don't like refugees. If people know I'm thinking about such things, how embarrassing. Nuo Al covered his hot cheeks, constantly denying the thoughts in his heart. No Al, are you uncomfortable? Master Julius, but I'm calling your number. Kuroba's big warm hand suddenly covered No Al's forehead. Watch as the pupils rapidly dilate, chiseled cheeks. Nuo Al was stunned for a moment, her tender body tensed up to the extreme as if she had been electrocuted. That feeling, but there is a kind of shaking like feeling. What are you doing? I'm not uncomfortable. Nuo Al woke up suddenly, and quickly stepped back a few steps. Feeling the gazes from all around her, her cheeks were about to burn. If it hadn't suddenly occurred to him that something was wrong with the occasion, he might have almost imagined that even Bibi was born. No Al, come up quickly if you have nothing to do. Magic Emperor said with a smile. 3 months ago, when he heard Nozel's return, he was very pleased with Nozel's transformation. After all, Nuo Al is too similar to her mother and concubine, and the magic they use is exactly the same. Thinking that an old friend from the past could have such an heir, Magic Emperor felt relieved. No, I'm sorry, I'm number 176 candidate Nuo Al. Nuo Al quickly walked over Kuroba and came to the front of the crowd. Feeling the gaze all of a sudden raised on his body, his heart started beating thumpingly. For more than 10 years, she has been growing up in the rejection of her brothers and sisters, no matter how hard she practices. The despair of being unable to control the magic power, never thought that it would be easily changed by others. It also changed her fate. Then heads, please start. Magic Emperor motioned directly after taking another look. As soon as the words fell, all the group leaders raised their hands in unison. 8 regimental leaders. The head of the silver-winged vulture, and Nozel of the Silpha family, did not raise their hands. It's rumored that their brother and sister are not in harmony. The strange scene surprised many people. In their eyes, the silver-winged vulture is an aristocratic group controlled by the Silpha royal family. As a big brother, Nozel should absorb Nozel. Now he doesn't even raise his hand in public. Isn't this embarrassing, Nuo Al? Hehe, Nozel didn't expect you to be so harsh on your sister. Vengeance said with a dry laugh. I heard that you, my sister, were originally restricted from participating in the assessment of the Magic Knights because you couldn't control the huge magic power. However, hasn't she changed recently? With her current second-class magic power and the premise of learning 3 magic spells, she is a rare little genius. Speaking of this, Vengeance looked at Nuo Al and said, this kind of young genius, I am willing to use a lower-level third-class knight to choose you. A lower third-class knight. The scene suddenly became an uproar. Even Yuno was no exception, his expression changed dramatically. He has a 4-leaf clover magic book, compared to the previous ones. He was the leader of the 9 regiments, and he joined the Golden Dawn regiment forcefully after free choice. However, it never occurred to him that he would return to the same starting line with Kuroba. It never occurred to them that the group leaders looked at Kuroba as if they were looking at a baby, their eyes glowing blue. Even the position of the head of the regiment was directly bet on it. Originally, there was only one Kuroba, and it was a special case to be treated like this. Yuno's mood can be balanced a bit. Now, however, there is another Noa Al. The position of a lower-level third-class knight is not high, but it is used to recruit a newcomer. This makes Yuno, who is also a newcomer, face something. Although, Noah is royalty. But for Vengeance's aggressive and unconventional way of recruiting, many people can only say, the baby can't accept it. That was the majestic Golden Dawn. However, Just as messy thoughts flashed through their minds, Nozel's indifferent voice rang out unexpectedly. Vengeance, you misunderstood. As my sister-in-law, of course I want to protect her well, but her attitude has been very clear on the way here. This girl is in puberty, and she plans to choose the same magic knight order as that arrogant person. Puberty. The scene was dead silent. It's him again. Nozel's head was empty, and his ears were buzzing. Seeing Nozel with an intriguing expression on his face, he cried out. Brother Wong, what nonsense are you talking about? Kuroba helped me control the magic power, so I plan to repay him. I am a royal family, so I don't like refugees. Please clarify to me. The rolling voice echoed in the huge arena. Nozel was startled, and then said blankly, the rebellious period. For the simple 3 characters, stepping on a horse means cherishing characters like gold. Feeling the weird gazes from all around, Nozel felt a little regretful, and asked Nozel to explain for himself. It seems to be another episode. Magic Emperor forced a smile on his face, and looked at Vengeance with a little pity. In his eyes, the Golden Dawn has always been chosen first. Today is simply the Waterloo that stumbled. Lien broke the rules and planned to put all his eggs in one basket to get Vengeance, who would be a favorite of the lower third-class knights. It never occurred to me that I was rejected again. It felt like I took off my pants. You step on the horse and tell me that you are a man. Impossible. Vengeance's expression froze, and he said anxiously, Nuo Al, you are a royal family, and the bulls are. The hurried voice was mixed with strong emotional fluctuations. However, before the words were finished, Vengeance felt Julius's gaze. His expression couldn't help but stagnate, and he barely suppressed his mood swings. Then since you have made your choice, I hope you will have a better development in the Black Bull Regiment. Vengeance said lightly. Master Julius, continue. Looking at Vengeance, who has undergone subtle changes all of a sudden, Yami's brows could not help but frown. Well, the next one is number 180. Magic Emperor looked back and said again. Just now, the whole group expressed their opinions one after another. I don't know how many group leaders will compete for the next new candidates. Let's wait and see. No, 180, it's me. Saikai, who had been hiding in the corner, was taken aback for a moment and walked up quickly. In his eyes, he is also a rare bronze magic, capable of both offense and defense. The whole group stated their position before. How can we make a choice of 3 or 5 groups? As soon as this idea came to mind, Saikai suddenly looked up, and there was a dead silence in his eyes. Ahem, leaders, please express your opinion. Magic Emperor coughed dryly. I have noticed this newcomer just now. He uses bronze magic. His attack and defense are good. Would you like it, Captain Kuroba? Speaking of this, even Saikai couldn't help but look over. As a magister, the ultimate goal is to join the Magic Knights. What's more, as a young genius in Kaki Village, Saikai only came out after bragging about his awesomeness. If you can't be selected, you can see your parents and folks without a face. No, our Black Bull Temple is too small to support so many geniuses. Kuroba shook his head and refused. This scene stunned many people. In their eyes, all the Black Bulls in the past have never refused to come. Trash freaks take everything they order. Could it be that after picking up 2 royal families, it swelled up? However, at this moment they want to know more, because they have set a historical precedent. What are the psychological feelings of the young genius of Kaki Village, the bronze magician Saikai, who was rejected by the Black Bull group? By the way, Captain Jack, it seems that you haven't cut off the bronze attribute of your fracture magic, right? Why don't you accept it? Kuroba looked at Jack with a strange smile on his face. Like Yami, Jack the Ripper is also regarded as the head of the civilian knights. Notoriety is about as good as Yami, the god of destruction. Faced with Kuroba's sudden recommendation, a curved smile appeared on the corner of Jack's mouth. Yohei, I didn't expect you, a little brat, to know my breaking magic. It seems that next time I will cut it with you. As for bronze magic, it is indeed an attribute that I haven't hacked. I want this newcomer. Why don't you roll aside? You don't have the right to refuse. Be careful, I'll cut you off right now. Seeing Jack with a ferocious face, licking a scarlet tongue with an appalling length, Saikai could not help but shiver. Now he would rather go back to meet his relatives and elders without face, and he would not want to be hacked. However, facing the dignified group leader, Kai Guouo's eyes, Saikai could only bite the bullet and retreat. With Kuroba's recommendation coming to an end, the selection is still going on. It's a pity that compared to Kuroba's stunning, Mimosa and Nuo Owl are sisters. The newcomers behind, no matter what specials they have, don't seem to have much brilliance to attract attention. Okay, the Red Lotus Lion King, want the last one. Fugolian said in a deep voice. After Nuo Owl, the whole group stated that they never appeared again. Often for a newcomer, it is already very good to have one or two team leaders at the same time. Especially if there is no same attribute in the group, it will be very difficult for general guidance to cultivate. Therefore, unless the strength and talent are really strong, there are very few magic knights who will set the income standard too complicated. Of course, the Black Bull group that picked up the leak was an exception. After Fugolian made his statement, the newcomer to the Fire Attribute Magister was quickly taken in. Okay, now that the last freshman has been selected, this year's Magic Knights assessment and selection has come to a successful conclusion. The Magic Emperor clasped the list in his hands. Then everyone, let's go away. After leaving these words, Magic Emperor turned around and planned to leave. Have I been forgotten? Asta was stunned, thinking that he would be remembered by the end. Undoubtedly, he can't even afford a sense of existence now. Master Magic Emperor, and me. Asta rushed out in a hurry. The roar of this voice immediately attracted everyone's attention. Look at Asta who let Kuroba cheat to raise the magic broom not long ago. Vengeance frowned and said, this kind of waste that doesn't even have magic power, don't waste everyone's time, let Captain Kuroba see if it is missing, maybe you still have a chance, don't need to pack up and go home. In the face of successive setbacks, the Four-Leaf Clover Kingdom, the strongest magic knight Golden Dawn. Except for a Yuno at the beginning, I couldn't find any other good seedlings. This made Vengeance obviously unable to suppress his emotions. Seeing the astonishing Vengeance, the people present couldn't help being shocked for a moment. Even Yami and Magic Emperor are a bit of a surprise. Asta stopped abruptly. However, more people looked at Kuroba instead. The tit-for-tat confrontation between Kuroba and Vengeance a moment ago was obvious to all. Now Vengeance has kicked the magic-free Asta to Kuroba, which undoubtedly treats the Black Bull group as a trash can for leaks. Captain Kuroba, don't you want to help your little brother? Vengeance turned around and smiled playfully. That's right, a waste that doesn't even have magic power, no one really wants it. Seeing Vengeance's increasingly extreme personality, Kuroba smiled playfully. Grabbing the void with his right hand, the magic book on his waist flew out quickly. The moment the cold wind rolled back, everyone in the field couldn't help shivering. The inexplicable words scattered with the wind, shaking everyone's nerves. My little devil brother, don't disgrace me, if you die, I can only blame you for being so useless. Kuroba's smile became more warm, and the next moment, he caught it suddenly with his right hand, and the violent magic power exploded like a frenzy. Creation magic of ice spring. Boom. The cold wind surged like a gushing spring. A series of ice crystal pillars detonated instantly at this moment. In the form of a thrust, quickly spurred towards Asta. The violent scene caused everyone's pupils to shrink suddenly. They never imagined that Kuroba would kill even his own people if he disagreed with each other. In just tens of meters, but in the blink of an eye, it was approaching. Those who have seen Kuroba's methods with their own eyes clearly know that his strength can kill even the deputy head in an instant. For a man without magical powers, this attack was like a nightmare. Kuroba's actions are atrocities. When the black-red light suddenly exploded on Asta's body. The moment the dilapidated magic book opened, a rusty blade spit out directly. Before everyone could react, Asta's right hand was suddenly clenched, and the black magic power poured into his body like a frenzy. Roar! Asta's entire arm was instantly occupied by the devil's power. Raising his head suddenly, he locked onto Kuroba's body instantly, and with the demon severing sword in his hand, he slashed at the incoming ice crystals. Boom! All over the sky ice crystal chicken is so beautiful. With the help of the devil's power, the rebounding effect of the demon severing sword and the effect of cutting off the magic power instantly multiplied several times. The blade, as huge as a door panel, instantly shattered the incoming ice crystals. The next moment, Asta's eyes were red, and he took a big stride, like a sharp black arrow, striking Kuroba across the air. The violent scene stirred everyone's nerves. The faces of the melon eaters who suddenly woke up, especially the group leaders and Magic Emperor, suddenly changed. Compared with ordinary people, they can more accurately see the effect of Asta's attack. Watching Asta, who appeared before Kuroba in the blink of an eye. The darkness is like a door panel. Under the threat of Kuroba, Devil bursts into the second form of the demon-breaking sword. It is so powerful that in the original book, it is enough to cut all enemies together with magic. It can be said that under this blow, everyone couldn't help but want to see how Kuroba would respond. Nice performance, my little devil. Kuroba smiled warmly. In full view, move. The domineering armed color of the right hand is as black as ink, and the moment of rapid coverage. There is no trace of bells and whistles. I raised my hand to catch it. Boom. The dull collision sound suddenly reverberated. The huge impact brought about the moment the hurricane rolled back. Kuroba's right 5 fingers clenched tightly. Boom. The black magic blade shattered like a spider web. It turned into a black mist all over the sky, collapsing in the sky and the earth. Seeing this violent scene, the pupils of everyone in the field suddenly shrank. Just a moment ago, they were watching Asta show off his might with their own eyes. Now it was crushed with one hand. If you don't see it with your own eyes, who would believe it? Especially the devil in Asta's body shrank instantly from fright. This is a no-win trick. A killer weapon that can nullify all magic. Faced now, covered in Kuroba's hands, was the strange magic of the color of black steel. Not only could it not be neutralized, but it was also crushed with one hand. Whose devil encountered such a violent operation? Okay, the show is over. Kuroba let go of the hand that was clasping the demon-breaking sword, and said with a smile, Brother Devil, you are all so tired, go and rest first. I don't want to say it a second time. A small voice spit out, and the power of devil entangled in Asta froze for a moment. The next moment, like a frenzy, it rushed back into the magic book. Asta, who regained consciousness, was stunned for a moment, and immediately grabbed his right hand and yelled loudly. My hands, my body, did someone beat me up just now? Looking at Asta, who suddenly changed into a different person. After the people present were stunned for a moment, Kuroba patted Asta's shoulder with a smile and said, I want this trash. Waste. Listening to Kuroba's words, the expressions of the people present were different. Either Asta nullified Kuroba's ice spring. It was still the speed of the sudden attack just now. These means are available to ordinary candidates. In particular, the devil's aura exuded made people feel an inexplicable suffocation crisis. It can be said that if Asta's combat power is at the level of waste, then I'm afraid there are more trash here. Ah, Black. Captain Kuroba, do you mean that I became a member of the Black Bulls? Asta was taken aback. However, what happened just now, my bones are still tingling. It feels like many people have beaten me. Seeing Asta bouncing around like a monkey, the oppressive atmosphere in the arena eased a bit. Hee, I didn't expect that there is an unexpected surprise hidden in the end. Magic Emperor took the lead to smooth things over and said, since the last candidate was also accepted by Captain Kuroba, then this year's candidate, the assessment of the Magic Knights has officially ended successfully. Goodbye everyone. Leaving these words behind, the golden light on Magic Emperor's body shot up like a sharp arrow, and he shot straight into the sky. Watching the Magic Emperor leave, Vengeance took one more look at Kuroba, then turned and left. The rest of the regiment leaders were no exception, and followed suit one after another. It can be said that this year's assessment of the Magic Knights is the most lively one ever. Whether it's Kuroba, who was born out of nowhere, or Mimosa and Nuo Al, the choice of the two royal princesses. All let them feel surprised. Still need some time to digest well. Seeing the situation where the building was empty, Yami also jumped down. Captain, are we going back next? Yami asked Asta with a cigarette in his hand. Looking at the previous moment, he was still the head of the group, and now he is addressing other people's heads one by one, without any unnatural expression at all. Finral, who followed closely behind Yami, couldn't help but stare blankly, looking at Kuroba with a little more pity. As a small passageway to Yami's toilet, he has already figured out Yami's temperament. It is absolutely not a good thing to be able to give up the position of team leader so easily. As for the changes in the expressions of the two, Kuroba also had a panoramic view. However, Chin-yu already had a countermeasure. Your name is Finral. Kuroba turned his gaze and said, as the deputy head of the Golden Dawn, the big brother of Langris, I still think you are stronger. Of course, if you plan to rescue the lost Langris one day in the future and perform your duties as a big brother, I still hope that you can put your mind on teasing girls above your cultivation. The inexplicable words made Finral startled. Before he could ask further, Vanessa, who was wearing scantily clad clothes, smelled of alcohol, showed off her milk sandwich and gave Kuroba a pancake all at once. Haha, you kid, you really joined our Black Bull squad. Vanessa took a sip of her drink and said, smelling of alcohol, my sister promised you that we will drink together tonight. Whoever gets drunk will make up his mind. Don't worry, my sister will get drunk on purpose. Get drunk on purpose. Nuo Al froze for a moment, watching Kuroba being so intimately eating pancakes. Can't help but say, Mimosha, why did she emphasize getting drunk on purpose? Since you're going to be drunk, why do you still drink so much? And why are your cheeks so hot? Seeing Nuo Al with a confused face like a curious baby, Mimosa blushed and glanced at the scantily clad Vanessa. Couldn't help lowering his voice to whisper. What? Noelle suddenly screamed. Drinking, is there still such an operation? In Nuo Al's eyes, girls should not get drunk on any occasion. Now suddenly comes a deliberately drunk operation. The imagination space is indeed a bit big. Haha, you little girl is also a newcomer, right? Why don't we get drunk together? Vanessa's other hand pinched Nuo Al's neck directly. Under the face of the wave cake, it felt a little dazzling. What made her cheeks flush even more was the shape and scale. It really makes people have a real fragrance mode. Vanessa big sister, they are all newcomers, why don't you pinch me? Finral came back to his senses, subconsciously glanced at Kuroba, and said with a forced smile. Go away, you old man, don't hinder me from getting in touch with the new leader. Also, you bastard, I got drunk on purpose, what dare you do? The noisy sound made the huge arena suddenly lively. The soldiers stationed all around couldn't help but feel ashamed when they saw the fierce regiment of the bulls. Still sneaking a few more glances. Although the bull gang has done a lot of crimes, the scene in front of them. It's really fragrant. Master Julius, you are finally back. I heard that there was a big problem in the assessment just now. As soon as Marx saw the Magic Emperor appear, he couldn't hold back immediately. Hee, Marx, why did you insist on saying that someone needs to stay here just now? But you missed the show. Cobb tore open the space door and walked out quickly. However, the last kid who has no magic power has a magic book, which seems a bit strange. Master Julius, do we need to investigate? Strangeness. Marx felt itchy all of a sudden. After all, the boringness of previous magic nights allowed him to doze off. It never occurred to me that if I didn't go this time, the appearance of Kuroba would make the assessment different. You mean, the book that hosts the devil? The Magic Emperor sat down on the chair, intertwined his fingers, and rested his chin on the table. The book that hosts the devil is very surprising, but I am more concerned about Kuroba. He seems to be perceiving and controlling everything, and Vengeance, who has always been approachable, seems to get emotional easily when facing him. For the Four-Leaf Clover Kingdom, the head of Golden Dawn, known as the strongest magic knight order. Among the outside population, they have always been powerful and approachable. However, being cut off by Kuroba one after another today made the Magic Emperor frown a little bit because of the extremes he showed. After all, Vengeance and Yami are both his personal favorites. Master Julius is right. Captain Vengeance's performance really surprised people. Cobb interrupted. However, Captain Kuroba's behavior is indeed beyond expectations. Every time he picks up a leak, he can cut off the head of Vengeance. Whoever it is, there is no way to accept it. Think back to everything that happened on the court, especially the selection of Mimosa and Noelle. Magic Emperor frowned, but he couldn't help but relax, and said with a smile, Cobb, you were right. Anyone who meets this kid who doesn't play cards according to common sense will definitely have a headache. You don't know, my head was still roaring just now, and I still feel sorry for Vengeance. It's rare to preside over a Magic Knight's assessment, and I ran into Kuroba. Speaking of this, the smile on the Magic Emperor's face grew stronger and he said, however, that kid is a headache, but with him watching, I can feel relieved for the time being as a kid with devil's power. The first thing we have to deal with now is the riots that have occurred in various places. I heard that these things are all related to an organization that claims to be Bai Yi's magic eye. After saying this, the expressions of Cobb and Marks who were present also showed a slight stagnation. Marks even quickly took out an intelligence report. This is the Shia village that was attacked not long ago. According to the witnesses and survivors, it was a group of undead who attacked them. Meanwhile, the residents of the Golden Dawn. As the strongest knight group in the Four-Leaf Clover Kingdom, it is also an elite group of nobles. The place where they are located is the most noble. Seeing Yuno, who arrived at the station with Vengeance followed by a group of gorgeously dressed members, was a bit dazzled. Captain Vengeance, you are finally back. Did you bring back the best newcomer this time? Langris led the two of them forward with a smile. However, when he saw Yuno, his expression froze. One person. In the eyes of Langris, Golden Dawn is to hold the purpose of preferring to lack. However, the rookie is the blood of the magic troop. What's more, no matter how bad the quality of strength is in each session, it should be reasonable to select taller ones from shorter ones, right? First, second and third place, that is the result of Golden Dawn's all-inclusive package. Vengeance, who is now the leader, just brought back a newcomer. This subverted their cognition. The most difficult thing for Langris to accept was that Vengeance didn't even look him in the eye, left behind a few words, and walked away. Cross, the newcomer will be handed over to you. Looking at the deputy leader who was stunned in place, Cross, who followed Vengeance to the assessment site, quickly raised his glasses, and hurriedly explained, Deputy Leader Langris, there have been many episodes in this magic assessment. Following Cross's narration, the expressions of the members of the Golden Dawn magic group present changed one after another. Especially those who were born as nobles heard Kuroba who was born as a refugee. When the crowd cut off Vengeance and recruited the two royal families, they were furious. That bastard vagrant, dare to be so arrogant and fight against us Golden Dawn. Deputy Captain Langris, you must give us a sigh of relief. If this kind of refugee doesn't teach a lesson, it will only damage the reputation of our Golden Dawn in the future. The scene suddenly became noisy. A playful smile flashed across Langris's face and said, Black Bull Group, isn't that where my useless big brother is? That's really annoying. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe.